Somewhere inside a spotless clean room in Asia, a machine is stacking silicon so precisely that one microscopic failure can slow the next wave of artificial intelligence. The public sees the GPU. The industry watches the memory beside it. High-bandwidth memory is the hidden fuel line for the AI boom, feeding the world's most expensive processors with data fast enough to keep them awake. If the memory is late, the accelerator waits. If the yield collapses, the data center stalls. And if one company controls enough of the stack, the AI race stops looking like software and starts looking like a Cold War fought in microns.
For years, the AI story was told as a race for raw compute. More GPUs, more tensor cores, more floating point power. But at scale, the processor can finish math faster than memory can deliver the next data. That is the memory wall. HBM attacks it by stacking DRAM upward, placing it beside the accelerator, and opening a brutally wide path between memory and compute. It is not the model, it is not the chatbot, it is the fuel line. And when that line narrows, billions of dollars of AI hardware can sit there hungry.
That is how SK Hynix became the company everyone quietly watches. It did not win the HBM race with a louder brand. It won by learning how to manufacture the stack before the rest of the market could match it at volume. Market researchers have repeatedly placed SK Hynix at the front of advanced HBM, while Samsung and Micron fight for position behind it. In ordinary memory, leadership can rotate. In HBM, one manufacturing generation can decide who gets the first seat inside the next AI supercomputer.
The battlefield is microscopic. HBM is built by stacking DRAM dies and connecting them through vertical electrical tunnels called through-silicon vias. Think of thousands of shafts bored through silicon, aligned layer by layer, filled, bonded, tested, and compressed into a package thin enough to sit beside the processor. One bad via can poison the stack. One warped die can kill the module. One thermal flaw can turn a premium product into scrap. This is trench warfare, except the trenches are invisible to the human eye.
SK Hynix's edge came from solving the problem that haunts every silicon tower: heat and stress. Its MR-MUF process injects protective material between stacked chips, helping protect the interconnects and move heat as the tower grows taller. In plain English, the company found a way to stop the silicon skyscraper from cooking itself or bending out of alignment. That sounds small until you remember what HBM is being asked to do: move terabytes of data every second through a package smaller than a coin.
In HBM, yield is power. A normal viewer sees a chip. A manufacturer sees a probability machine. Every layer must work. Every connection must survive. Every finished stack must pass the customer before it becomes real supply. When yield drops, cost explodes. When yield rises, capacity appears almost like magic. That is why the most valuable number inside an HBM factory is not the speed printed in the launch deck. It is the survival rate. How many good stacks make it out alive?
Samsung understands the humiliation of this moment. It is a memory empire, yet the AI HBM cycle put it under pressure from a rival that moved faster in the one niche every hyperscaler suddenly needed. Its counterattack is HBM4 and HBM4E, wider interfaces, higher bandwidth, and a push towards more advanced bonding. Samsung has publicly showcased HBM4E for AI infrastructure, while industry reports say it has been preparing hybrid bonding capacity. But hybrid bonding is not a cheat code. It is a new battlefield with new yield risks, new equipment costs, and new ways to fail.
This is where the thriller becomes bureaucratic and somehow more dangerous. HBM does not win because a press release says it wins. It wins when the customer qualifies it, the package survives the test flow, the thermals hold, and the factory can repeat the miracle at volume.
That is why whispers about qualification, resubmitted samples, low-yield prototypes, or customer approval can move markets. In a normal product race, a delay is embarrassing. In HBM, a delay decides who receives the next wave of accelerator demand.
Then there is Micron, the third pressure point. The HBM war is not a simple Korean duel. Micron has become a serious supplier in advanced AI memory, and U.S. industrial strategy gives it a different geopolitical role. But the center of gravity still runs through Asia. South Korean memory fabs, Taiwanese advanced packaging, Japanese materials and tools, and customer platforms designed around whichever stack can ship first. HBM is not one product. It is a chain of dependencies, and every link is now strategic.
South Korea is treating this like a national survival project. In late June 2026, Samsung and SK Hynix announced plans for a combined 800 trillion won, roughly $518 billion, in new chip-making investment in the country's southwest. Each company is expected to build 2 fabrication plants, while the government frames semiconductors as infrastructure for the AI era. That is the real signal. HBM is no longer just a memory roadmap. It is industrial policy with clean room walls.
The Cold War becomes visible when governments start drawing borders around memory. In December 2024, the U.S. Commerce Department added controls on certain high-bandwidth memory for China, describing HBM as critical to AI training and inference at scale. That was the moment memory entered the same strategic vocabulary as advanced processors and lithography tools. The logic is brutal. If you cannot stop every AI chip, restrict the memory that makes those chips powerful.
China understands the trap. A domestic accelerator without enough advanced memory is like a jet engine without fuel pressure. That is why HBM controls hit differently from ordinary sanctions. They target the part of the system that is hardest to replace quickly. Some Chinese firms are exploring software workarounds, domestic memory, and alternative architectures. But a workaround is not the same as parity. In the AI race, being forced onto a slower memory path can shape which models can be trained, which services can run, and how fast an ecosystem can scale.
The silent enablers are just as important as the famous memory brands. Taiwan's advanced packaging capacity helps determine how processors and HBM are placed together. Japanese materials, chemicals, wafers, and precision cools sit deep inside the process. Equipment makers tune etch, fill, reveal, bonding, and inspection steps that most people will never see. That is why the HBM Cold War cannot be understood by looking at one factory gate. The power is distributed across invisible dependencies.
The next horizon is stranger than faster memory, moving computation closer to memory or directly into it. Samsung has already demonstrated HBM PIM, processing and memory, where some computation happens inside the memory system to reduce data movement. SK Hynix has shown accelerator in memory ideas using GDDR-based AIM. Qualcomm is now pushing near-memory compute architectures as another route around the memory wall. The direction is clear. The future AI machine may not treat memory as a passive warehouse. It may treat memory as part of the engine. By 2027, the question will not be who can announce HBM4. It will be who can manufacture it reliably, qualify it with the hardest customers, secure enough packaging capacity, and survive the export control map. The winner gets more than revenue. It gets influence over the pace of AI infrastructure. The loser does not vanish, but it may spend years chasing a production curve that moved without them. In semiconductors, time is not neutral. A 6-month delay can harden into a generation of disadvantage. This is the silent digital Cold War. Not tanks at borders, but memory stacks inside clean rooms. Not speeches, but yield curves. Not missiles, but export licenses, packaging capacity, and microscopic tunnels through silicon. The future of AI will still need better models and faster processors. But underneath all of it is a colder question. Who can feed the machine? The balance of computational power may be decided inside a few square miles of cleanrooms in East Asia, where the next century is being stacked one memory layer at a time.